Joining us now on the Rush Radio Show, live from his office in Iowa City. It's been a while since we caught up with him. Coach Ben McCollum. Coach, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
You're
looking good, man. You settling into that office?
Getting there. Yeah, I think so. We'll see once the full season starts here.
How's practice going so far?
Good. I'm still undefeated, so that's nice. It's the second year in a row you kind of take over something new, and regardless of how many guys that came with, it's still tricky because you're navigating everything outside of basketball, and then you're trying to figure out exactly what the league is going to look like. You're trying to figure out your own personnel, so it's been a little bit tricky, but practice is going well.
On top of that, Coach, one thing you didn't mention in there is trying to put a schedule together. That's another thing that you were tasked with here in your first couple of months. And where does that kind of fall in your priority rank as far as having a successful season? You've obviously got to build that roster. First of all, you got to make sure you got the guys to compete. How important is it to also make sure that schedule is something that's manageable?
I mean, I think the schedules, I think it's recruiting. I think it's scheduling. Obviously, it's donor relations and whatnot. But scheduling's up there in the top, couple things that you need to do. The unique part about this year is a lot of the schedule was not a lot, but the schedule pattern was kind of done, meaning, hey, you need a game here, need a game here, need a game here, and on through. So then it made it a little bit tricky. And the simple fact that we didn't have a lot of guys back probably hurt us in trying to schedule quad one games, your games that really help I guess they would call your net ranking. So that became a little bit tricky. We ended up getting, I think, 4 Power Fives, I think somewhere in that range. We wanted probably a 5th, maybe even a 6th, just to test us. But then you also have to schedule for what your personnel says to do. Meaning, sometimes you need more confidence earlier in the season. And so you might schedule somebody that still can beat you, but might be one that didn't have as good a year the last season. So it's tricky.
How hands-on are you with the schedule? I mean, are you like, hey, you own it and you do it? Because it came out fairly late, and I'm sure trying to find some of those games. But when it comes to scheduling, how hands-on are you with scheduling?
I would say I don't necessarily do the schedule, but I make the decision in the schedule, if that makes sense. And
that makes sense.
So like people present you with like options, and then you're the final decision maker type thing.
Correct, and they have a say. Obviously some people that schedule, they kind of understand it a little bit better than I do, because it is like a math problem, and it like ever changes, like who's going to make the NCAA tournament and how can you. I don't know if it's cheat the net, but how can you use the net ranking as much as you possibly can? Like Iowa State for a few years, they scheduled perfect. They beat the heck out of a bunch of teams and, beat them by about 50 each game. And it naturally increased and they were a good team too, but it naturally increased their net ranking. And so, Oklahoma this year was probably the team that did a good job with it. And they won their early season Power 5 games, and then they beat the heck out of some other teams. And so trying to find that is tricky, but yes, I would say I would be the one.
Coach, I was in Phoenix last week for the Big 12 Consortium officials meeting and the NCAA officials meeting. So you had 200 officials. A lot of those guys are in the Big 10 Consortium as well. And I was doing some podcasts with them, and I said, what's the biggest change as an official you're going to have to get used to? And they're like, the challenge rule this year, they said, is interesting. It's going to be interesting to watch clock management and how those challenges are used. Have you thought about the challenge? Do you see yourself using a challenge at the 11-minute mark, or do you want to save all those challenges for like the final 2 minutes of the game? Because there's got to be some clock management when it comes to that challenge that's a change this year.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'll probably have a better indication as the season progresses. Like I don't really know to answer, quite honestly. I think sometimes when you get overly concerned with things like that in the middle of a game, I think it's tricky to then just coach your team. I'm probably.
Oh, we lost you.
Oh, I
We
thought that
lost
was
your microphone.
I was afraid that was me.
No, it's Coach. We
Here,
lost his microphone.
Coach, hold on one second, Coach. Let's see if this works, Trav. I'll try to. Did that kick back, Coach? You with us?
No.
There
it is.
you.
There
Popped
it is.
in.
We got
Thanks,
you.
Coach.
We got you.
So my you know what it is? My iPhone keeps popping in, so I need to probably disconnect my iPhone. But I hate to do that because then I might disconnect from you.
Yeah, we're good. We'll figure it out. We're good.
Okay, we're good. Where was I? I was talking about
the challenge.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably won't focus too much on it until later in the season. You've got to understand exactly what you can actually challenge and what you can't. That's going to be the tricky part too. Does it really benefit you that much? How much will it change? I don't know. I probably put an assistant in charge of it and let him handle it.
Challenge it, Coach. Don't challenge
it. All right, a couple months in here, let's have some of these conversations about your expectations coming into the job. What's something that's exceeded your expectation being a part of the athletic program at Iowa?
I guess I'm probably a guy that doesn't have necessarily expectations because I think sometimes that creates a lot of problems. I would say what has been, I don't know if it's a pleasant surprise, but what has been really good about it, I think that Beth has really worked. Beth Getz really works at trying to perform. She's really competitive, which I appreciate. Meaning, she helps, and their whole administration helps make the job considerably easier. The coaches here are awesome. I mean, so inviting. I do genuinely feel like they want for your success. And that helps a lot. And then obviously the people surrounding the program. I think sometimes in the social media age, you can assume that the 5 people that comment on how they don't like certain things is how the whole area feels. And it's just not the case when you're
it's easy
around.
To fall into that, Coach. Good for you.
It is. It's very easy. I don't pay attention to it. Now, sometimes, like I've said before, people will send me things and it's like, why did this guy say this? And I'm like, well, because he's whatever. And so, it is what it is. I'm guessing the season will be a little bit worse in regards to that. So I just, will completely shut it off and not even have access to it. But the people here have been super excited, and very, very welcoming.
It did seem, Coach, like, there was this thing with Iowa basketball, fan apathy that was setting in there. And as an Iowa fan, as a guy that hosts a show where we talk to a lot of Iowa fans, interest in Iowa basketball had really, really waned. How have you combated that? Have you seen that? Are you seeing a resurgence in NIL donating and things like that?
Yeah, I think the last part of that, there's definitely a resurgence there. That's for sure. From a donation perspective, from a donor perspective, all those things. As far as the people, it seems like it. I get to as many events as I can possibly get to. Seems like a lot of people are very, very excited. Yeah. And, I think the next step is, let's get to games and let's get Carver rocking. And let's get it full and let's be a part of kind of building something special and it's just because attendance here is great. Wrestling gets quite a few, women's basketball, obviously, football does, soccer has, and volleyball starting. And so like attendance is pretty good here. And so we need to do our part in regards to that.
Well, following up on that, and Bill Fenley, the women's coach at Iowa State, we always asked him, how did you build your attendance? He goes, you know what? I waited after the games. I shook hands. I went to all the events. I'm going to use an example. I live in the Omaha Council Bluffs area, right? So you went to the Omaha iClub event. My sister-in-law, Laura, was there. Her friends were there. And the first thing they commented was, Ben McCollum went around and shook everybody's hand at that event. That made a huge impression that you did that. You worked the whole room, made sure you talked to everybody. I've seen you in the student section at Kinnick Stadium at different events. I mean, do you kind of take that same philosophy? Yes, you're at a major institution, but to get out there and put a face and a voice with the program goes a long way with fans.
Especially Iowa fans. I mean, that's just how Iowa people are. They just, they don't necessarily need your autograph. They don't necessarily need that stuff, but they want you to just say hi. And it's just as simple as that. They want you to shake their hand and look them in the eyes. And that's just how people are. It's just how people are. They want a genuine approach to it. When you do shake their hand, they want you to be genuine about it and not be an act and like, I'm just doing this because I have to. It's no, my job now that I have a bigger platform is to try to make a difference in whoever you come across. And that's just the nature of this position. And so you just happen to do it through the game of basketball. And then naturally it improves attendance. And if you think of it from more of a little bit different perspective, if my players are doing that constantly, and then I expect them to perform on the court, that's a difficult task. And so part of it is that's part of my job to get out there, and my players will do it. That's probably part of their problem is they are very inviting. And so, I just go out and do it. And we just like, I think what people have to understand in the state of Iowa and Iowa fans.
Oh, iPhone again. iPhone again. iPhone.
What if I disconnected? And I don't want to do it. You can disconnect.
Yeah, you're all right, Coach. Leave it the way it is. If it happens, we're good with that.
Yeah, we're good with that. Oh, it's connected again.
Yeah, do disconnect it. Oh, yeah, we've lost you again there, Coach.
Nope, I got you.
There you go.
There it goes. There it goes.
It was my iPhone. I disconnected my iPhone. We're good.
There we go.
Okay.
Still got you. Awesome.
I still haven't figured that stuff out yet.
Coach, don't worry. Me neither.
MacBook.
Same thing happens to me, and I'm supposed to be a tech guy. So you focus on basketball, just like you're letting your players focus on basketball, and you're kissing the babies. Yeah, don't worry about it, man. None of us can figure it out.
Your life has changed.
Go ahead. I just think Iowa fans and like they can be a part of the rebuild, and that's why it's part of like, hey, you can be at the games and attending as this thing starts to build. And so like a lot of people get excited, and I am too. Part of that is now can we carry this on and understand like this is a big undertaking, and we want to be towards the top consistently. Like that's ultimately your objective. And it's going to take everybody. It's going to take everybody that's an Iowa basketball fan and really any sport fan to really help us get over the hump.
Your life has changed a lot in the last couple of years, from Northwest Missouri State to Drake to Iowa. Is there a difference in the demands on you as a head coach than it was in Maryville, than it was in Des Moines, to what it is now? To you're like, man, I just want to coach, and I know I got to go out and meet fans. But how much has that changed just from a demand standpoint to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, I got to do interviews like this at 7:30 a.m. with guys like you. So
that's what I was going to say.
Come on, we're not bad. We're not bad.
I'm just kidding. So no, a little bit. I think obviously from Division II, the demands are quite a bit different. I think, the biggest difference is you probably don't have as much time to just sit there and think, and just because there's a couple hours a day that you could, Division II, you could sit there and watch some film and kind of work through different scenarios and, change whatever you're doing offensively, defensively, help your guys, connect with your guys even more, read a book, whatever it may be. So you don't have as much time for that self-improvement that you did before, but it's not shocking. Like the time difference is not shocking. It's not, again, it's not bad. I enjoy it. Actually, I enjoy going to the events. I enjoy the excitement. I enjoy interacting with fans, and I enjoy it all. So it's really, it's more time consuming, but it's not as much as you would think.
I know you said you're not big on expectation, Coach, but unfortunately fans are. What do you think, if you're talking to Iowa fans here, what's reasonable expectations for this first year of your control of the program?
Reasonable expectations, like from a win-loss perspective?
What would you consider a successful season? Do you have a benchmark in mind of, if we get to here, we did a good job this first year?
I don't. I don't at all, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
I don't really.
Can I throw some out yet? Is it reasonable for Hawkeye fans to say NCAA tournament this first year?
Again, I'm not an expectation guy.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. I used to do goals when I was like my first few years at Northwest, and I'd have this goal sheet, and they were, I'd have specific things to be able to reach those goals. And I realized that the goals were somewhat irrelevant, unless you did all the other stuff, the process portion of it. And so then I just became so obsessed with the process and so focused on that I don't even, we'd win a national title and I didn't even pay it. We never talked about it. It was never, let's go win the league. Let's go win a national title. Let's win a couple in a row. We just didn't do that. It was just, let's just get better today and keep getting better. Now, the expectation is, just a quality product out there for them to see, an effort, a team that's easy to cheer for, a team that's tough, a team that's going to fight, a team that's connected. That would be my expectation for it. I think I said this when we were at Drake last year, and somebody had asked me, if you would have looked back, and I don't know, at the time we were 29-3 or 29-4, 29-3, so I don't know, something like that. And they said, would you be okay with this? And it's well, this wouldn't be a goal to lose 3 games. Because you have to think in terms of a goal. It doesn't make sense. Why would my goal entail losing? It's okay, 29-3. Well, would you be happy with that? No, I lost 3 games. You're supposed to win, right? That's the objective, is it not? Everybody knows the objective. So why do we need to put it on a piece of paper and assume that that's going to actually help us get a result? But I understand that from a fan perspective, and I appreciate you trying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that, as a fan, Coach, we do this. We are not in the program. We're not there in the day-to-day. And it is a good reminder to have a guy like you say, no, that we aren't looking at that big picture thing. I love that. I think that's a terrific answer. My expectation is that we're going to get better every day, and that we're going to focus on that. And in 3, 4, 5 years, when you're a perennial Sweet 16 team, then I think it's okay to be all right, now we've set some things up here that we think if we can reach this, that can be the next step. But I love right now, especially, you laid it out perfectly. Get a team that Hawkeye fans can be excited about. Mm-hmm. Get a team, get a group of guys that are out there on the court, and it's easy to cheer for them, because this program has fallen short of that goal at times in the past couple of years.
Well, it could add to long-term success too.
Yes.
I think your objective is not, it's the ability to sustain itself and to continue to be good. And so
I like that.
You have to really have a good foundation. And I thought, when we were at Drake, that was always our objective. The way we recruited was to try to get, we tried to just get really tough kids, and obviously we couldn't shoot great, but we were tough and we were connected, and it was specifically to build for the long haul. And it just so happened that they from an outside perspective outperformed what anyone would have thought at that point, other than me.
You've used that word connected a few times. Are there specific things that you do to try to get the team connected? Like Coach Ferentz has a book he has the team read. Sometimes there's off-court activities that they do that are not specific sport related. Do you have something that helps build that connection?
Get the right kids.
Okay.
I think that's the number one objective. You have the right staff, and we do have that. Get the right kids, and then challenge them constantly to where they're, you put them in positions to, for lack of a better way to say it, suffer, and then teach them how to respond to that. And then, you serve them and you love them. And That's the best way to do it. But you have to start with the right people. If you don't get the right people, it's very difficult to connect them.
That's good.
Of course, there's going to be a lot of new faces that fans aren't familiar with. Some are, like Bennett Sturts. People are going to know that. Anybody that's impressed you early on in practice going, oh, pretty darn good, people are going to like watching him?
Boy, I think all of them have. I would say Isaiah Howard, but he was there last year. I think he's been even a step above where he was the year before, and he understands the system. He's shooting it at a high level. One of the holdovers from last year, Cooper Koch he was really good in our scrimmage the other day. Had a big scrimmage. I think he was like 9 for 11, somewhere in that range. And so he was great. 6'8", can shoot, can do a lot of different things. So I feel like we have a lot of depth. We need to start creating some separation with that depth. And, hopefully that'll happen here shortly.
All right, before we let you go, we know you're a baseball guy. Are you following the playoffs at all? You a Yankees fan? You a Blue Jays fan? A Cubs fan?
Trying to remember what fan you are. I can't.
Well, if I'm a fan, so I'm not. I hate to say this because I'm not necessarily a fan of a specific team. I just casually watch the playoffs. I probably would rather watch College World Series baseball or even just live baseball. So I would say I used to be the Royals because that's when they were really good. And so you'd go down to games and it was like you just naturally became a Royals fan. I would say from a historical perspective, I like dominant organizations. I'm the opposite, where everybody hates the dominant organization. I'm the guy that jumps right on because it fascinates me. So I would be a Yankees guy because it just fascinates me how an organization can be so good so often. Obviously they have the most money, but so good so often. It's just always like the Patriots when they were so good. It just fascinates me how people can dominate year after year after year after year. And so if I'm a fan, it would be the Yankees.
I'm glad you like the College World Series. College World Series is awesome. I mean, that's fun just to be in the stadium for the College World Series. But Coach, I know you're a busy guy.
There, Coach, that we talk about a lot. It's the people. You've touched on this a few different times. When we talk about the roster, we talk about the culture, we talk about you being a Yankees fan, or when you're saying the same thing. You know what I'm a fan of? I'm a fan of the people that get the process right, and they can do that process for a long period of time. I think that's a very consistent thing, whether you intended to do that or not. Nice.
No, I didn't, but it's people.
That's people.
That's genuinely what I've always thought is, once you understand that you're not that special, I mean, like you're only as special as the people you surround, and genuinely believe that, genuinely actually think like, if I get these right people, like that's can be your superpower essentially, is identifying the right people, put them in position, and understand that you're not like, there's nothing that I can do as a coach if I don't have good players. Like, I'm not a good coach. It's just how it works. So I genuinely believe that.
Excellent stuff. Coach Ben McCollum, we appreciate you taking the time this morning. Good luck this season. Hopefully we can catch up sometime during the season, but always good to get your insights. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Take care,
we'll
Coach.
see you soon.
Go Hawks.